right, we're gonna kill that music. Anyway, welcome back to the Sleuth Intuition channel. I'm your host, Patrick Vallejos, broadcasting live from Phoenix, Arizona. This is another episode of Coffee Talk, where we like our brew butchered. What's up, Miss Dog Lover? What's up, Riot? Hey, yo, Justice, good morning. Good morning, Brown Eyed Girl. So I am enjoying some mild roast, Dunkin' Donuts, 4 sugars, 2 creams. And I definitely take my murder with psychology and serial killers. Good morning, Beth. You changed your name and pick. Oh, who were you before? Dark roast, Starbucks, straight black here. Ooh, yeah. And with the dark roast Starbucks, you can do that easily. Oh, okay, Audra. Gotcha now. Brown Eyed Girl, I like that song. Who's that? Morrissey? Who sings that? Van? It sounds like a Credence song, but it's actually, I think, Morrison. Van Morrison. I don't know. I keep saying Morrissey. What's up, Wanda from Missouri? Shout out to Missouri. Creepers online. I had to. Who was fucking with you? Elena. Welcome, Elena. Abravanel. Am I saying that right? Elena Abravanel. It's good to see you. Did you participate in the poll? How do you take your murder? Psychology and serial killers, cold cases, unsolved crimes. Yeah, Wanda. I mean, it's really not even that cold here, and I'm so bundled up. My fingers are frozen. The thing is, I love the cold, but my body doesn't. There you go. Van Morrison. He's having a brain fart. It's a great song. I have beige eyes. I used to get compliments on my eyes all the time. Now they're just so bloodshot red all the time. It's that hippie lifestyle. What's up, James? Why would you be asleep? You work the night shift? Well, welcome in, Elena. I don't study, I just read books. Okay, so you're like my wife. She likes thrillers. I almost put that up there too because I enjoy reading thrillers, but honestly, I can't read books because it'll put me right to sleep. If I need to go to bed for whatever reason, I'll just open up a book. I won't even make it through one chapter, and I'm passed out. It's like I hypnotize myself. Yeah, just remember you cannot reason with folks that are unreasonable. So just don't even waste your time, really. Here in Phoenix, the summers become so grueling, really. I mean, unlivable, dangerous, almost as dangerous as the snowy weather. That's not what we're dealing with in the summertime. Feels like almost as quickly as you could die in the snow, you could die in this kind of heat. But during the summertime, we just sit here and we're counting the minutes, counting the days, praying for the winter. And then when it gets here, we're like, oh my God. Now we're praying for the summer again. But for me, it's all about those in between seasons, fall and spring. What's up, Jerry? Hey, I haven't shipped off your hoodie yet. I have it all ready to go, though. It's all packed up. I meant to go yesterday, but my wife and my oldest daughter, they weren't just going to the post office. They were going to the post office. They were going to the mall. They were going, they were doing this whole thing. So I didn't want to go. But if I can talk my wife into joining me for lunch, there's this place right next to the post office. And we'll get it out today. What kind of coffee do you drink, Elena? How do you take it? Because I'm closer to family than them. Sorry, not sorry. Yeah, shout out to Becky Patty, Mike Patty, all those guys. Anna, Carrie. They've been putting up with a lot of shit. I doubt it'll ever end. Just more bullshit caused by Richard Allen, really. I mean, you guys ever just sit and wonder what makes a serial killer? Like, how do you spend your time plotting and, like, how do you get there? I mean, really, what makes a serial killer? What makes somebody like Ted Bundy? I always assume there was some kind of abuse as a child. Abuse while they were a child, maybe even an infant. They don't even remember the abuse. For Richard Ramirez, it had a lot to do with his uncle. Like, he had an uncle that was prominent in his life and was just a really bad guy. He saw him commit murder, sexual assaults, just a real vile individual. And I always assumed that he sexually assaulted him as well. But I mean, this urge for violence, we hear about gateway crimes, arson, um, animal cruelty, animal mutilation. I mean, what is the recipe for that? Definitely, I'm gonna have to say psychopathy, right? You definitely have to be cut off from empathy, from having a conscience. That voice in your head that tells you, "Hey, don't do that. There's consequences to that. It's not morally right." What's up, Susie? Like, how do you get to the point where you're like Brian Koberger, where you're getting off on home invasions You guys ever hear the story where he was breaking into his classmate's home, a young woman, and moving her things around? So she would come back to class and she'd say, Brian, what? And he would say, well, what's bothering you? She said, well, I think somebody's breaking into my home. I wake up and all my stuff's moved around. I'm terrified. I don't know what to do, Brian. Oh, don't worry, miss. I work in security, just like the bind, torture, kill serial killer. I'll install a security camera for you. I'll even show you how to access it on your computer. Now he's watching her through the security system that he just installed for her. Like, whatever happened to calling some old buddies and saying, hey, you want to go golfing, or, you know, setting up a vacation, setting like these normal goals. Not that, I'm just things I'm throwing out there. How do you get to the point where you're sitting and you're stewing in your own evil? So, first off, I think there's a lack of God, right? You definitely don't have any spiritual connection. You don't have any instincts. All your instincts are like more leaning towards animalistic, not intuitive. A lot of them explain it as like an uncontrollable urge. Right. Says, I think mostly abuse or trauma as a child with a dash of genetic predisposition. I hear often too damage to the frontal lobe. So I think that might be the recipe for disaster. Sexual trauma as a child, or abuse at a very, very young age. Um, also, maybe damage to the frontal lobe. And I would say personality disorders like psychopathy, sociopathy, things like that. Should put that on a shirt. Fuck cold weather. Love black coffee. What's up, Mike Hawkburns? A person gets to that point when he realizes mankind is in the way. Well, Richard Ramirez made a comment. He said, I wish I could know the exact quote, but it was something along the lines like, we're living in bloodthirsty times. So I myself must be bloodthirsty, saying that it's not him that's evil, it's the world that's evil. And then they try to put a mask over it as if they're not. So he's basically claiming to be a product of his environment. That's what I think it has a lot to do with, Justice. This it's like a high they're getting off of their own adrenaline. I think that is what's going on with these folks that like to invade people's homes and watch them sleep. That's how a lot of them become killers. First they just I don't know if you'd call it voyeurism. I don't know what you'd call that. But they would sneak into people's homes and hide in their closets, and then when they go to sleep, they'll come out and they'll watch them, maybe videotape them, watch them through the window. And then the victim wakes up like, "What the fuck are you doing in my room, dude?" And they panic. Like, "Oh shit." So then they jump on the victim and they strangle him. I mean, case after case that we've covered are exactly like that. A good one is the McDaniel case. There you go, Susie. It's all about the why. And that's why I said, do you guys enjoy the cold cases and the unsolved cases, for the challenge? Try to possibly figure it out, the mystery of it all. Hey, Beth, was Dahmer abused as a child? I don't think so. He had a great relationship with his family. Here, Jeffrey Dahmer kind of reminds me of this guy. Hold on a second. Let me pull him up. And I know I made a file on him, Brian Cohey the second, but I don't know what I did with it. But anyway, we'll just watch this video and we'll react to it. So when I see this video, it reminds me of Jeffrey Dahmer.
I can't believe it. At random too. Why? I don't get it.
I don't have any answer. How old is Brian?
He's 19.
He's 19.
What's going on, man?
What's going on, man?
Okay, so parents have some concerns of some stuff they may have found in your room?
Parents are concerned.
Yeah, I believe so.
And what would it be?
A human head and hands.
Like, for real human head and hands?
Yes.
From?
That fellow who went missing recently.
That fellow who went missing recently. I have his hands and his head. I can't bear to part with it, sir.
Which fellow was that?
Warren Brown.
Warren Brown? When did he go missing?
The night
When I killed him.
The night of the 27th? Okay, and how did you end up with him?
I murdered him.
With what?
A knife.
Why would you have done that?
I've always wondered what murder felt like.
I can't believe it.
Okay, so constantly, what's the number one question normal people ask when they're diving into these crazy cases? They say, why? Why would you do this? Like I don't even know these victims, but you've made my stomach turn. You've filled me with fear. I want my family to be closer to me. Why would you do this? Why would you destroy these lives and send this ripple effect through these towns, these cities, through people's lives? Why would you do that? And then you hear the motherfucker say this.
A knife.
Why would you have done that?
I've always wondered what murder felt like.
I always wondered what murder felt like. That's why they do it. Now you listen to what the parents are saying here.
I can't believe it.
That's his mom.
At random too. Why?
The dad says, yeah, and at random too. Why? Like they're flabbergasted. They didn't see it coming.
At random too. Why? I don't get it.
I don't have any answer. How old is Brian?
He's 19.
He's 19.
What's going on, man?
What's going on, bud?
Okay,
What's going on, bud? Heard you had a head and some hands.
so parents have some concerns of some stuff they may have found in your room?
Yeah, I believe so.
And what would it be?
A human head and hands.
God, you see the evil right there? Look at the evil. Look how he's like a human head and hands.
A human head and hands.
Like,
Fuck. I hate to say it, guys, but you cannot see that coming. You have to be prepared for something like that. Look, he's big too. You know, you're going to have a struggle. What's up, Timmy? Good morning to you, my friend. I think Dahmer was neglected. I don't know. There's all these videos of him and he's just hanging out with his father and they seem normal. Like they have this normal relationship. Dahmer, this guy right here and Dahmer are like, they have the same illness. They have no connection with God. They're almost soulless. Instead of having a soul, it's like you have like a demon or something. Fucking Golem. Morality and humanity are placed upon us. They do not occur naturally. I don't agree with that, Mike. I think these things are given to us from a higher power. I think they're innate. I think some folks, unfortunately, are lacking for sure. And I think that's what it is. I think that's what we're seeing. That's what we're fascinated by. Like, how do you not have a soul? How do you not have a conscience? Like, how do you not have any regret? Like, you just have, it's almost as if you're not even human, right? These people who suffer from psychopathy, sometimes they feel like a mutant, you know? And oftentimes after they get arrested, they'll reach out to other serial killers like, "Man, you're the only person I can talk to. You're the only person who understands this urge to kill, this lack of empathy, this pure rage, uncontrollable rage. Like, I wish I could stop killing, but I can't." If that doesn't scare you, nothing will. I mean, look at this guy. There's no way that you're going to pass him. Let's say you pull up to this property and you're lost. "Hey, young man." He's like, "Hey, hello, madam. That's a lovely dress you're wearing, ma'am. And that's a nice neck." Well, that's an odd thing to say. Mike says different perspectives of the same events. Yeah, no regret. You know, you have some people who commit murders and they're filled with regret. And they go and they tell law enforcement, "Hey, I told this guy to stop fucking with me. He wouldn't stop fucking with me. I was really drunk and I killed him. I killed my neighbor." And, I can't believe that it came to this. I'm filled with regret. I don't know how this is even possible, but you guys need to lock me up. I'm a murderer. And then you have some that plan it out. Like right now, I'm really working hard on a video about a gentleman by the name of Oki Al Kite. And he was targeted and murdered, and he was one of the nicest people. Anybody that met him will swear to it. But somebody targeted him specifically for where he lived, his lifestyle, which was he was divorced, living alone, had a new girlfriend, but wasn't living with him. The basement would provide, would soundproof his torture chamber, really. So that's how he was targeting his victims. He would get a burner phone and he would create a fake persona, fake name, fake social, fake address. He'd fill out applications. He would go visit. He would pay the deposit in cash. He would get his key. And then he would come back in the middle of the night and murder you. But not only murder, he tortured Oki Al. Hogtied him and stabbed his feet, stabbed above his eye, like into the eye cavity, in between muscles in the shoulder. "100% Steffa." Steffa says, "Now that is a psychopath. He does not think any problems about having that in his room. He's just fascinated." He's like, "It's fascinating. Would you like to see my head? Have you ever seen the bottom of your throat?" Like he's actually fascinated by it. He has no connection. There's no humanity there. He's like some beast that's living amongst humans. This guy drove his car with the body of his victim into a lake. Then the cops pulled the car out. They saw blood on the car. Watch the body cam if you have it. Of this guy here. Well, he has no emotion. There is nothing here.
A human head and hands.
A human head and hands. He's like, there you go.
For real human head and hands?
Yes.
From?
And that's what Jeffrey Dahmer did. He kept heads. He kept he wasn't really a cannibal. He was a cannibal, but not in the traditional sense. Like, he didn't eat people because they were readily available as, a source of protein. He ate them so that they would never leave him. That's why he kept their body parts. He had this weird obsession. Like, hey, I really like this guy. Before they leave me, I'm going to kill them. I'm going to keep them here in my fridge, and I'm going to consume their body parts. That way, they'll always be here with me. So they recognize that they're different than everybody else, right? They recognize that they're not the same as you and I. So imagine having this crazy sickness and you're able to hide it. Like, hey, kind of like Dexter. You just go through the motions. My mom calls him in front of the cops to see if it's his blood. All right, let me see if I can find that. I know I have a folder on this guy, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to see if I have that already. If I have it, it'll be under his name, Brian Cohey. But I know that I deleted a whole lot because I need space. Yep, I don't have it. Give me a second, guys. I'm sure it's on YouTube. Oh, thanks, Joe. Brian, let's see. Brian. I think I found it already. I'm just waiting for this intro from this YouTuber to clear. Oh, you know what? I did see this. Wait, no, this isn't the one where they pull it out of the water. Unless that's towards the end. Oh, yeah, there it is. Okay, let's watch this.
Look at that, and then if you guys, we can just ask for a...
I'm switching to primary, hold on.
But if we can get the lab out here, that would be the best.
Okay, so what Brian did was there was a homeless man that was living right here under this overpass. And he was laying down, he was sleeping, and Brian just jumped on him and decided to kill him.
Best thing.
Yeah, get forensics out here. Yeah,
probably check that other camp up there. Holy hell. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the part you're talking about is towards the back here. I'm not getting any audio from this.
Patrolman would be in a better position to answer that question, since I've never really had a car. I don't think so. Maybe the patrolman would be in a better position to answer that question, since I've never really had a car in the water before. No, it's at an
What's up,
angle.
Rightfield? CJK?
It's heading upriver. It's facing upriver.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is going on here? Riot, did he take his mother's car, put the body in it, and then roll it into the river? And then he kept the head in the hands?
Yes, the
What's up, V?
front of it is facing upriver. Oh, damn it. I'm sorry. It keeps losing the call. And he's like, I don't want to get wet. I don't have the proper.
Okay, quick question for you, Riot. Is this before they found the human head and hands?
Clothing to go
I feel like her behavior and her attitude, this must be before the head and hands or after. Maybe she's already come to terms. I don't know.
into the water and get wet.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
So I think our dispatcher's they're trying to make a few calls too, right? Yeah. So our dispatch is making.
See, there you go, guys. I think Satanism and just lack of God, just agreeing with the opposite side rather than obeying, your godly father or whatever. I think they choose to follow Satan. V says he has an upside down cross tatted behind his ear. Same thing goes with people like Israel Keys. Like, he was a real evil son of a bitch. They believed in God. They just followed the devil instead.
A couple calls too.
can he, if it's going to stay there for the next
Hey, Tony, what up?
hours, and his dad has a Ford F-250 pickup truck, and his dad's willing to wade into the water, can we try and pull it out tomorrow?
Yeah, and what we're working on is more than likely, from what it sounds like, if somebody has to go in the water, it'll more than likely be tomorrow to get it out. I'm not going to.
Yeah, that should be raising some red flags, right? You have, first of all, as a police officer, you should know the number one reason people put cars in the water is to conceal something. Either it was a horrible accident and there might be a body inside, or somebody's trying to conceal something. So if you find blood inside the car that's been recently pushed into a body of water, I mean, that might lead you right to a killer. Sometimes I just wonder if these officers aren't interested in solving the case. They're just like, oh, I'm going to turn my head the other way. That shit bothers me.
You can't get your own car out of here any which way you want. Might just risk his injury, of course, or somebody gets in that river and isn't able to get out, we got a whole other issue. But the car's not going anywhere.
Okay. All right. Like,
Okay, so Riot says the dad starts cleaning the car once it's back in their possession and starts to suspect he was up to no good. He searched his room and found the head and then called the cops. So it took the father to investigate. Now, what if the father was something like Koberger's father? You know, I feel like he may have been trying to help Koberger. So what if the father was cleaning up the car and trying to cover up the crime? Good, you know, thank God they were good people, because this kind of guy would never stop killing. He would get better, scarier, more victims. Like, he would never ever stop.
it's not gonna
If we
like all of a
can't
sudden
get somebody
just
out
down
of
the
here,
river.
if it doesn't, we know which way it's going.
Yeah, right. That's true.
You know, it's not going to do any more damage than it's already done. So
Okay.
I think our
teenagers.
I think our feedback that we're getting is if somebody does have to go in the water, it won't happen until tomorrow. Just because it's daylight out, and we'll be able to get a lot more resources out here, just for safety issues, of course. So,
Alrighty. That's probably good. I mean, blast is probably bad. Hello. Hey, Robert. Well, you know, I was just talking to the patrolman.
Oh, absolutely, Timmy.
The car's not going anywhere, and they're suggesting that
Oh,
we
yeah,
just
she's oblivious.
adjust this in daylight hour.
You know, she probably still thinks that's her special little boy, because he seems like he was raised like a normal kid, right? Some people, it doesn't matter the atmosphere that they're raised in. I mean, that dude was pure evil. But a mother's not going to see it, I don't think. And also, you have to give these serial killers some credit, these psychopaths some credit, for pulling the whole Jedi mind trick thing. You know, they know that they're not normal. They know that going out into the woods and dissecting people's pets is not normal. So they learn to hide it. They become chameleons. So I don't blame the family. Like I said, you got to give credit where credit is due, and that belongs directly on the shoulders of a serial killer who has learned to hide the red flags.
That's why they make the big bucks. They're smart.
Yeah.
This guy's like, hey, I don't even have any waders. I gotta get in the water. You know, so nobody wants to get in the water. I hear ya.
She's still on the phone with the other company right now.
I don't.
Are they saying they can't do it?
They're saying that they would have to drive out here first, look at it, assess it, and then go from there.
Managed to get it with his pickup truck.
What's up, Sparky?
I think they might hold off till tomorrow.
They got recovery program right now. Recovery program.
Everything.
Yeah, Mike, I could see that in any situation.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much.
That's that whole mama's boy thing. I think that has a lot to do with incels too. I think incel is just another word for some type of strange personality disorder.
I appreciate you answering the phone call. Thanks, Robert. Bye. So I'm sorry.
We were able to get a hold of a company called Recovery Pros.
Okay.
They are on the way out.
Looks like, right?
Tackle this and
Absolutely.
Get it out. So they're on their
We'll
way.
be here in about 20 minutes.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Awesome.
You guys want to stay warm? You're more than welcome to jump in my car and stay with me.
Does he need to stay here? Or is he free to go? I'm sure he'd like to go home and get warm. Yeah, right? Okay.
So,
Okay. All right, I'm gonna take him home then, and then we'll come back here and see if we can figure out.
Yeah, kind of like, hey, you've emasculated me. I have a deep seated subconscious rage, against because incels, even though they act like they want a girlfriend, they really don't. They hate women. They always act like, oh, women don't want to date me. They don't want to go anywhere with me. But look what Brian Koberger and the story about him and his girlfriend or the girl he met on Tinder. Remember, he was like, first time he ever met her, she even invited him in. Like he had the green light. Let's go, dude. Like, one night stand all night. And he starts tickling her out of nowhere. And she's like, dude, what are you doing? That's weird. Stop tickling me. He goes, with those Steve Buscemi eyes, he says, I'm not tickling you. Like he literally tries to gaslight her 2 seconds after tickling her right to her face in some kind of weird, embarrassed, awkward. I really don't know what you would call it. It's this awkwardness, kind of like the hell was his name? He was an incel and he was a mass killer. I can't remember his name. But he would complain that none of these girls wanted him, and he was going to target all these college girls. And he never even kissed a girl. He's in college. He's never even kissed a girl. But then he would say these vulgar things about women. So incels, what they do is they create this unattainable goal. They want women to be perfect. They need them to be everything that they will never be. That way they can continue to say that, oh, well, they're shitty people, right? Women are the problem. But the truth is they don't want women. They don't want to be in a relationship. They hate women. Thanks, Riot. Apparently that's the end. It's all good. This is our 15-minute warning anyway. What's up, Jack Johnstone? Papa Roger is inside looking out. Yeah, we did a live stream on the whole Papa Roger. Go watch my video. Brian Koberger lives in his head. Then you got the Missy Beavers case. We've done countless live streams on this case. We haven't touched on it in a minute. But we'll let that play for the last 15 minutes here. Don't forget, in about 4 hours, we will be going live on the Sebastian Rogers case. So if you guys have any info about that case, or you've been studying it or researching it, I'm going to need you to be present during that stream. I have a lot of questions. Hate would require capacity for love also. Emotions may not weigh as heavy as others' factors. Yeah, it's not really a hate. It's more of like a rage. Hate is kind of a decision we make. Like, oh, I've chosen to hate that person. So I think often I think hate is a product of anger, but I feel like some of these killers, they have this uncontrollable rage, like a narcissistic rage. Yep, paranoia. disdain or contempt. So if you have this uncontrollable rage, you're suffering from psychopathy, somebody needs to pay for your suffering. That's when you start to pick your victim. You start to fantasize about murder. You know, the thoughts of murder, the thoughts of sexual assault, for whatever reason, bring you the killer. Right? We're stepping into the mind of a serial killer, kind of like arsonists. When they light that fire, whatever that's been driving them crazy and ruining their days, and all of the pain and the torment and the trauma that they've been through, when they light that fire, they feel relief. I think the same goes for a serial killer or a lot of these killers out here. They fantasize about murder and things like that, and they're overcome with relief. They're like, wow, that makes me feel good. Fantasizing about this gives me hope that I might be able to have a release from this. But unfortunately, it means I have to go kill. So when you listen to people like Ted Bundy, he would commit these murders and he would be good for a day. He would be good for a day, a week. And then it started lasting a day. So then he had to start killing 2 in one day. Jack Johnstone, this is the Missy Beavers case. So what you're seeing is security footage from her killer. So this guy broke into this church here, and she's going to show up for an exercise class any minute now. And he's going to walk in on her, he or she, some people think that this is a woman, and kill this woman, Missy Beavers, who was showing up to this facility early in the morning. And the person is dressed in what appears to be SWAT gear, walking around with a hammer. I mean, he's in full riot gear. Walking around, it's obvious that this person knows that the security footage is on them, and they're trying to make it appear like it's a break-in, is what I think. Yeah, Missy Beavers unsolved. I mean, that looks like kind of like a whoever it is, they have bad legs. I don't know, Melissa. That I don't know. Yeah, and that's very rare, Mike. Rarely do people get that feeling of true justice. Mike says it's her father-in-law. Yeah, definitely suspicious. The way they went out of town, and how they alibi just seems so, all of this just seems so fabricated, concocted. But yeah, I think we might be doing another deep dive into this case. This is one of those cases I was always expecting, like breaking news, There's been an arrest made. Same with the Elizabeth Barraza case. Like I'm waiting for this case and that case. I just always felt like they would be solved.
Warrants and new clues in the mysterious murder of Missy Beavers. Detectives are running down every lead they can think of, and new search warrants are revealing details about her marriage, personal life, and who she talked to online.
Now, the whole nation is watching this case unfold, but here in North Texas, it hits home. Police believe this person in the phony police getup is the killer. And that person, whoever it is still out there, someone's neighbor, someone's friend. Channel 8's Jason Whiteley tonight, live in Midlothian. So, Jason, today's warrants show police are checking everything that they can think of.
Indeed, they are, John. You know, right now, these are details that we have heard about for.
Yeah, I agree with that, Mike. Also, I would think maybe some changes, some lifestyle changes. Like you would think with anything, it would take real work. And also, you would have kind of like addiction, right? That's what it reminds me of. It's some kind of weird addiction. You would have to kind of need to hit rock bottom, I guess, sometimes, or maybe even want it, right? You gotta want to stop.
A couple of weeks now, finally made public, though, in this search warrant. Still, though, several legal experts, former county prosecutors, tell us that they're wondering whether it might help or it might hurt this investigation to reveal so many specifics. It is the latest revelation in this Midlothian mystery. A new search warrant with phone numbers and names. Police looking for data from those devices, wanting to learn more about who Missy Beavers was talking to before she was murdered last month at a Midlothian church. Among the numbers listed, a fitness instructor and his wife. Another man is a connection on her LinkedIn account, who the warrant states was having flirtatious and familiar conversations with Beavers. But sources tell us that none of these people are considered suspects.
And what they're looking for is that one tip, from the public that somebody said something, they know something that needs to get to police, so they tie this all together. And I think they'll get it solved. It's a matter of when.
This warrant, though, also reveals problems in Missy's marriage. Text messages on her and her husband's cell phone show ongoing financial and marital struggle and relationships external to the marriage. Details likely to generate new leads.
What's up, Mustang? What are you up to? Welcome in.
But attorney and former police officer Pete Schulte wonders if Midlothian is giving away too many specifics.
If they know things about the crime that have not yet been released, they can use that to build their case. If it's all been released, they lose that opportunity to really get somebody on.
Yeah, this looks like a setup, a hit. Your typical husband and wife, there's about to be a divorce. The husband finds out that the wife is cheating. They become pretty much mentally ill at that point. And depending on what kind of person they are, they might go find a divorce lawyer, or they might go draw up some plans for murder. I think in this case, they may have came up with a plan to get away with murder.
Details that they should know.
Schulte anticipates more warrants in the coming weeks for her Facebook and Twitter accounts, even
Mustang,
toll
I'm
tag
well.
data,
I am
and
well.
to determine whether Beavers had life insurance. Investigators casting a wide net in their search for a suspect and a motive. Jason Whiteley, Channel 8 News.
Crazy. Let's see what else we got here.
Y'all ready?
Yeah, give me a second. I have an issue.
This is her husband.
What are you going through right now? I mean, today, right now?
Well, I don't want to do interviews, okay? I just want to make a statement. Is that all right?
Tell us what you want to say.
Okay. Yeah, I don't.
I said, hang on, I'm having a problem with Karen.
Yeah, let him get ready. And y'all can funnel this up to the other media outlets, okay?
Yes, sir.
And I can be done with this,
Yes,
right?
sir.
Okay.
We appreciate you coming out. We know it's got to be terribly.
Yeah, why does it seem so difficult for him?
You'll speak from your heart. What you want.
And may we all just say,
Kind of giving me Scott Peterson vibes.
I appreciate it. I haven't had a whole lot of time to,
The fucked up part about being a psychopath is in some weird way, he's gonna, let's say he's the killer or he's responsible or who, if he's the one that did it, in a lot of these cases, he's gonna blame it on her. Like, she turned me into a killer. If I'm a psycho killer, it's because she turned me into one. If she wouldn't have been cheating on me, I would have never had to do what I did, right? Instead of just going and getting a divorce, going through a custody battle, doing all that weird shit and getting it over with. And the marriage is probably failing because of him, but in his mind, it's never his fault. So even though he may have caused the issues in the marriage, which led to all these arguments, to her looking elsewhere for attention and things like that, oh, no, it's her fault. Everything is her fault. And with the psychopathy, that's how it works.
I haven't had a lot of time to get emotional.
Narcissism in general.
I've been dealing with the immediate needs of my children. This morning I've had some. This morning I finally started thinking about the events that occurred yesterday morning, and so I'm starting with that process today. You got it?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Sorry about that, sir.
The main purpose here today is solely to communicate to the people in the community and to everybody watching and listening. My wife was she was a godly woman, and she was very passionate about changing people's lives with fitness and changing their mental attitude towards their body and themselves and their abilities in life. And
Yep. Yeah, we're gonna have to cover this case. Maybe we'll look into this case either tonight or tomorrow morning. Yeah, we need to bring some more attention to this case. But you guys, that's going to do it for today's coffee talk. Thanks for hanging out. I'm going to go on a walk with my wife. Come back and maybe eat some brunch. Riot, thanks for sponsoring today's live stream. I appreciate it. And don't forget, in a few hours, guys, we're going live and we're going to cover the Sebastian Rogers case. He's still missing. There's no new updates. From as far as I know, there's no tips being provided, no new sightings, no nothing. And I'm becoming very suspicious of certain people that are involved in that case. So I'm far from being an expert on the case. I'm learning a lot. So if you guys have been researching the case, hopefully you'll join that live stream and help me out. I have a lot of questions. So that'll be in 3 hours we go live. Exactly, V. Well, first of all, I would be a mess. I'd be begging for information. I would definitely do a lie detector test. I'm not doing any interviews until I take a lie detector test. Because after every question, I want to be able to say, and I passed a lie detector test. And I have an alibi. I think it's important if people are suspicious of you that you get those things out of the way. Your alibi, get that right out in the open and take a lie detector test. Even if it's only like 4 questions, be like, hey, I only agreed to those 4 questions. You know, you can go ahead and do the calibrating questions. Those don't count. And then ask me, you know, do I know where my wife is? Do I have anything to do with her death? You know, do I know who's responsible for this? Do I know anything? Or am I keeping any information from law enforcement? CJK says, be ready for some crazy blamers in Sebastian's case. I kind of have a few theories, but I'm not quite sure yet. I don't want to jump the gun on that. Because I know a lot of things that I'm questioning or that I'm curious about have already been debunked. So I want you guys to help me to kind of establish what's been debunked. What facts and evidence should I be focusing in on to begin? And then I'll just go all in. I'll put in the time and the effort and learn about it. What's up, wife Lilith? Alibis matter. Not only do alibis matter, in some cases they're the only thing that matter. If you have an alibi, you know, that's a done deal. Because usually an alibi includes a witness, you know, or some kind of documentation. So you can't just have an alibi. You have to have a solid alibi. Because anybody can have an alibi. Brian Koberger has an alibi. Richard Allen didn't even have that. How crazy is that? All right, guys, that's going to do it. Shout out to all of you who caught the live stream. Thanks for joining, participating in the chat. All you new faces, I hope you stick around. I love new faces. I like new voices, new perspectives. And shout out to the Sleuth crew, all you mods, members, and people who continue to donate. I got 2 $5 donations yesterday to the Cash App. You guys know who you are. And I couldn't do it without you guys. So I'm here because you make it make sense. And I love to do it. I love being around you guys. And if you continue making it possible, I'm not going anywhere. So I'll see you guys in about 3 hours. We're going to cover the missing persons case. Still missing Sebastian Rogers. Take care, guys. I'll see you in a few.